It's almost been a year since we took ownership of our allotment, and in what's felt like a short space of time, we put in so much effort to get it to a place where we can grow our own food. When we look back to the first day and compare it to now, it's almost unrecognisable. But as always, the fun never stops, and we've got plenty of jobs to get ticked off our list. So sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey of everything we've been up to in the month of June. Today, we're going to be installing the Irrigation solar automatic watering system into our greenhouse, and it's going to help us water all the tomatoes, chilies, cucumbers and a few other plants over the summer. We started by removing all the seedlings and plants we had growing in the greenhouse before taking up the tarpaulin that's been down since February to control the weeds. Once that was removed, I gave it a tidy by picking up any remaining weeds and raking the soil over to make it flat. Then I put in some twine to act as a support for our plants. I hammered in a wooden post at the back of the greenhouse, which is going to hold the automatic watering system. I'm putting it at an angle where it's facing south, and the sun will move in front of it going east to west, giving it plenty of opportunity to catch the sun's rays. Whilst I was doing that, Grace started putting in the first lot of tomatoes. After she planted about half of the tomato plants, I remembered that we hadn't tied in the twine to support them, so we had to dig up the plants, tie the twine in before putting the twine underneath the plants and getting them back in. And after a little bit of grovelling, we were back on track.
How did I not notice that?
No, potted it on and not even noticed.
Wow.
The chili.
Oh, so that's going to go red, I guess.
Yeah. Do we take it off now? I hooked up all the pipework to direct the water into the greenhouse and onto the plants. Then I used a syringe to prime the system. Then I put in the anti-siphon. This is needed as the water is being delivered in the greenhouse below the water source. joined me 10 days later, and I'm about to turn the automatic watering system on for the first time. The reason I haven't done it yet is because all the plants, tomatoes, cucumbers and everything, I want them to put their roots down far into the soil, so hopefully if anything goes wrong or I underwater them or something like that, then they won't be too damaged because they'll be able to get the roots into the soil. So hopefully give them a good start. But anyway, it's been 10 days now, so it's time to switch it on. Unfortunately, due to the system watering every 3 hours, I've not had chance to see it in action, but the tomatoes and plants are still alive and they're actually thriving, so it must be working. Next up, I need to make a bed for some beans as well as some frames to support them. I started by taking back the tarpaulin, digging up any remaining weeds and grass before levelling out the surface with a rake. Unfortunately, I came across a bit of roofing felt buried a few inches below the soil. There's always a hidden surprise. I think it's just the plot letting me know who's boss. Once the ground was levelled out, I started cutting the ends of my trellis sides so they would go into the ground easier. Then it was time to add some wire fencing that the beans will climb up. Once all three were put together, I started to hammer them in, but I didn't quite have the right hammer. A fellow plot owner saw me struggling and asked if I wanted to borrow their sledgehammer. I snapped their hand off, so now rather than it taking 20 hours to hammer them in, it only took 20 minutes. And just like that, they were all finished. A few days passed as the weather was really rubbish, but once there was a gap in the rain, I came back to plant the beans which we'd sown from seed just a few weeks earlier. Once they were in, I surrounded them with bramble sticks with plenty of thorns on to try and keep them safe from slugs. So we struggled to get down to the allotment for about a week or so because we've had a new addition to the family. It's little Bazzy. Here he is. He's 11 weeks old. I'd love to bring him and have a run around, but there's a few issues. One, he's only just had his second jabs, so we have to wait another week so we can let him off the lead. He's a bit bitey, we're still training him, so he'll probably bring everything up and we'll have nothing. And also, there's so much glass around on the plot everywhere. We don't want him to be biting any glass, so we're going to be doing a few glass pickups for probably the next month or two, just to make sure everything's safe. And then eventually he can come and he can help out doing a bit of gardening. But we're just going to have a look around while I carry him so he can get used to being here and hopefully enjoy it. Say hello. Hello. Good boy. This is Swiss chard. Have a nibble. Lettuce. Look at that lettuce. Got radish and spring onion, which aren't growing so great. They're not growing so well. Got beetroot. Nice beetroot here. And some dill. Bit of dill, which is bolted actually. It's bolted in the... Probably came 2 days ago and it wasn't looking like that. It was about half that size, genuinely. But it looks nice. Introductions out the way, and it was time to get on with the job that ideally should have been done a few weeks ago, but due to bad weather and seedlings dying, it's been put off. But now we're ready to plant our final rows of corn. At the end of the rows, I'm interplanting them with pumpkins to grow through and hopefully act as ground cover. Then it was time to get some courgette plants in the ground. These were also grown from seeds we planted about a month ago. Next, it was time to tidy up the back area of the plot, which were growing flowering plants, and trim back the buddleia, which has started growing a bit all over the place. And for the final planting session of the month, it's time to get the purple sprouting broccoli in. I started by spacing out the seedlings where I wanted to plant them, but before planting I swapped a few over so the bigger plants were behind the smaller plants, so they wouldn't overshadow them as they were growing. Then I planted them before covering with some mesh to protect them from birds. And now, it's a moment we've been waiting for almost a year, to cook a meal with the produce we've grown, and we've decided to go for a lovely summer salad. Do for lunch. Look at that, that's from one plant. Is that good? I don't know. I'm happy.
Especially when we're out the room. Thank you very much. This looks amazing.
I hope it tastes amazing. With no slugs.
I hope there isn't. They're really nice.
Cho-cho.
Aren't they beautiful? Wow. So the only thing we haven't made, I'm guessing, is the tomatoes.
They are nice potatoes.